Good day, I'm Dr. T and welcome to my office. Okay, so you'll notice it's been a little while since I've uploaded a video. And so there's a little bit going on behind that where I think this would be an important part to kind of start a discussion. Couplefold. One, the workload in academia has this kind of cyclic nature. Generally, you get a pretty strong peak right before the semester starts. Not the first day of class. If you've got a big peak on the first or second day of class, something has gone really wrong because you really want to have everything prepped and ready before the first day of class. So that means you've done all this work to start with, and so you're going to go for probably a couple of weeks with a pretty low amount of work. So of course, earlier in the fall, I tried to knock out a bunch of videos. So some of those videos were all recorded together. You'll probably see me in this shirt a couple of times because I'm going to try and knock out a couple of videos now. And then, somewhere around midterm, workload's going to start peaking up again. Now, it depends on how you've got the assessment set, etc. You might have a couple of smaller peaks, you might get some big peaks, etc. But typically, you're going to get a peak somewhere around midterms. And then it's going to die down a little bit. Never goes down as much after midterms because the lull is right at the start. Then midterms, it kind of goes down a bit, but doesn't go down all the way. And then it's going to start peaking and really kind of get the crescendo right at the end of the semester when you've got all the assessments that are due, any group projects, any of those kind of things. You got to get those things graded. Your prep is taking place early on, unless this is one of your first classes, in which case you're doing just-in-time lecture prep kind of stuff. The intensity of the workload is just constant at max. First couple of years can be rough. And so you kind of hit there. But as soon as your grades are in, the workload goes from fairly intense to just gone. And that can be kind of jarring. Now, it happens in the fall, it happens in spring, but in spring it's typically worse for a couple of reasons. One, there's usually other kind of end-of-year workloads. So you kind of get this other kind of cyclic year-long cycle that takes place. And that also crescendos in spring for graduation typically. So you've got things like graduation parties, senior symposium, that kind of stuff. And of course, you've also got annual cycles that are more community focused. And quite often, it's not uncommon for those to start peaking in the spring. So the spring, where you get maybe some of your spring festivals, etc., where you might be doing, community outreach. This means that you get a modest crescendo and then a major cut in the fall, but then you get a pretty big, intensity and then a massive cut in the spring. Additionally, the cut ends up being more because in the fall you only get a short break. You get maybe 3-4 weeks. Honestly, it's probably closer to 2 weeks once you start factoring in prep time and then grading, etc. Maybe as little as 1 week in the fall. So you don't have this large, just empty, you got holidays to prepare for, you got some personal stuff you need to sort out there, and then boom, you're back to work. And then the big peak wasn't quite so big to start with. But in spring, you got a big, massive, you get your grading, you've got all of those kind of graduation adjacent things, etc. And then the intensity of workload just crashes. And all the students move away from campus typically, depends on where you're at. My campus is a ghost town, and it's going to be a ghost town for weeks. We've got some summer classes, but not many. I'm teaching summer classes myself, but they're online. They're mostly prep, so it's mostly just grading for me. And so now all of a sudden you hit this crash. Now, this is the point. It's like, oh, this is the awesome time to get everything I've been putting off getting done. And that doesn't happen. And this is why you didn't get a bunch of videos already. I have a list of videos to make, and they didn't get made. Because once you hit that crash, it can trigger the depression. I've never been diagnosed, never sought treatment, etc. But you just kind of get blah. It's, just kind of this. I don't even know if it's a burnout's the right way. It's just with that crash, your energy levels crash. Or at least my energy levels. I don't know about you. My energy levels just crash, and I've been playing a few video games. Some of them were ones I wanted to, but when you're playing 6 hours a day, kind of thing, that's past optimal. Very few times are you really gaining the artistic experience that you're looking for with 6 to 10 hours of video game or just watching YouTube shorts, etc. So it's really easy to just lose that energy, get out of your routines, because, hey, you don't have to. This is why I don't want to retire. It's like the never-ending summer. It's like, this is not going to be good for me. So something to keep in mind. This point where, you think this should be the easiest part, the time to get the most stuff done, it's really easy to have a pretty big hit on your mental health. So I'd love to give you advice. I don't got it. Yeah, just keep an eye out for what's going on and hope you have better ideas of what to do than I do. And hopefully this doesn't affect you. This does not affect everyone, but this is an area to keep in mind. So with that said, have another day, and I got another video to record, so you're going to see me in the red shirt here again shortly.